Today, I want to share with you 100 facts about the most quietly extraordinary creature most of us share our homes with, the cat. I've always found it remarkable that we've lived alongside them for 10,000 years and they've barely changed at all. They are, by any biological measure, still wild animals, ones that have simply decided, on their own terms, that we are worth tolerating. Some of what I'm about to tell you will make you laugh. Some of it will make you look at your cat completely differently. All of it is real. If you're new here, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos about animals every week. Block 1. Body and biology. Fact 1. Your cat never meows at other cats. Meowing is a language cats developed specifically for humans. In the wild, adult cats communicate with each other through hisses, growls, chirps, and body language, never meows. The moment you hear your cat meow, it is speaking to you in a language it invented for you. Fact 2. Cats cannot taste sweetness. They lack the TAS1R2 gene responsible for detecting sugar. When your cat sniffs your ice cream or cake, it genuinely has no idea what the fuss is about. For a cat, sweetness simply does not exist. Fact 3. Every cat's noseprint is unique, as individual as a human fingerprint. No two cats in the world share the same pattern of ridges and bumps on the nose. In theory, cats could be identified by their noses the way people are identified by their fingers. Fact 4. Cats have a third eyelid. It is called the nictitating membrane, a translucent inner eyelid that moves horizontally across the eye. It protects the eye and keeps it moistened. When you can see this membrane covering part of your cat's eye, it usually means your cat is ill or under serious stress. Fact 5. A cat's tongue is covered with hundreds of tiny backward-facing hooks called papillae. They are made of keratin, the same protein as human fingernails. These hooks act simultaneously as a comb, a meat stripper, and a water scoop. Each one is hollow and draws moisture down to the base of the tongue through capillary action. Fact 6. A cat's heart beats between 140 and 220 times per minute. That is roughly twice as fast as a human heart. When you hold a cat against your chest and feel that rapid heartbeat, that is not anxiety. That is simply the normal pace of a cat's existence. Fact 7. Cats do not have a functional collarbone. Their clavicles are small, free-floating bones that are not attached to the rest of the skeleton. This is why a cat can squeeze through any opening its head fits through. If the skull passes, the entire body follows. Fact 8. Cats have 230 bones in their body. Humans have 206. The extra bones are in the spine and tail, which is why a cat's body is so extraordinarily flexible. A cat can rotate its spine to a degree that would seriously injure a human. Fact 9. A cat's normal body temperature is between 101 and 102.5 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 to 39 Celsius. That is about 1.5 degrees higher than a human. This is why sitting with a cat on your lap feels like having a small, living heating pad. Fact 10. Cats cannot see directly below their own nose. There is a small blind spot right in front of their face, roughly a hand's width. This explains why a cat will completely ignore a treat you've placed directly under its nose and look helplessly confused until it finds it by smell. Fact 11. Cats can see approximately 6 times better than humans in the dark. Behind their retina is a special layer called the tapetum lucidum. It acts like a mirror, bouncing light back through the photoreceptors a second time. This is why a cat's eyes glow green or yellow when a flashlight catches them at night. Fact 12. Each of a cat's ears is controlled by 32 separate muscles. Each ear can rotate up to 180 degrees, completely independently of the other. A cat can track a sound directly behind it without moving its head. It is effectively a biological radar dish. Fact 13. Cats have a second olfactory organ on the roof of their mouth called the Jacobson's organ. When a cat makes a strange grimace, mouth open, upper lip slightly raised, eyes going slightly glazed, it is called the Fleeman response. The cat is directing a scent directly into this organ for deeper analysis. Fact 14. Cats can hear sounds up to 79,000 hertz. Humans top out at around 20,000. Dogs reach about 65,000. Cats hear better than dogs. They can hear a mouse moving under the floorboards from the other side of a room, and they are hearing sounds in that room that you will never know exist. Fact 15. A cat's whiskers always come in groups of 24, 12 on each side, arranged in exactly 4 rows. Whiskers are not decoration. They are connected directly to the nervous system and can detect the tiniest shifts in air movement. A cat can navigate a completely dark room without touching anything, guided entirely by whisker feedback. Does your cat have a specific sound it makes only for you, something you've never heard it make for anyone else? Write in the comments. I genuinely read everyone. Block 2. Intelligence and emotions. Fact 16. A cat's brain structure is 90% similar to a human brain. The areas responsible for processing emotions are the same in both species. This is not guesswork. It is neuroscience. When your cat looks comfortable, frightened, or disappointed, it is not projecting human feelings. It is having them. Fact 17. Cats genuinely experience joy, fear, disappointment, and affection. These are not metaphors. The neurochemical processes that produce these states in humans are present in cats. Your cat that races to greet you at the door is not performing. It is experiencing something that functions like happiness. Fact 18. Cats know their own name. Japanese researchers confirmed this in a 2019 study. Cats respond differently to their own name than to random words of similar length, even when spoken by a stranger. The difference from dogs is simply that cats choose whether to respond. Hearing you and answering you are 2 completely separate decisions for a cat. Fact 19. Cats can sense seismic activity before instruments detect it. In the hours and days before earthquakes, cats have been observed becoming agitated, trying to escape buildings and hiding in unusual places. This has been documented in multiple countries. The exact mechanism is still being studied. Fact 20. A 2019 study at Oregon State University found that most cats form a secure attachment bond with their owner, the same type of bond that children form with parents. When the owner left the room, cats showed signs of stress. When the owner returned, they calmed. The cat uses its owner as a safe base from which to explore the world. Fact 21. Cats remember people who treated them badly. This memory is stable, long-lasting, and not easily overwritten. If someone has frightened or hurt a cat, it will avoid that person indefinitely, sometimes for the rest of its life. The emotional memory system in cats is particularly strong for negative experiences. Fact 22. Cats track time using scent. Your home has a baseline odor profile and your scent in it dissipates at a predictable rate. A cat can estimate how long you have been gone by measuring how faint your smell has become. This is why cats often appear at the door just before you arrive. They smell that the gap is closing. Fact 23. A cat adapts its behavior to each individual person in the household. With one person it may be playful, with another affectionate, with a third distant. It is not random or inconsistent. It is the cat making a distinct relationship assessment for every human it lives with and acting accordingly. Fact 24. Cats can detect illness and approaching death in humans. Oscar, a therapy cat living in a nursing home in Rhode Island, accurately predicted the deaths of more than 100 patients over a decade. He would come to lie beside a patient hours before they died. Researchers believe cats detect specific biochemical changes in the body during the dying process. Fact 25. Cats are genuinely capable of jealousy. If you get a second pet, spend significant time with someone else, or even pay too much attention to your phone, your cat may respond by physically inserting itself between you and the object of attention, demanding contact, or withdrawing entirely. It is not attention-seeking, it is a documented emotional response. Block 3. Amazing abilities. Fact 26. Cats almost always land on their feet. This is called the righting reflex, a neurological response triggered by the vestibular system in the inner ear. The moment a cat begins to fall, it automatically rotates its body to align feet down. This reflex works in blind cats. It works from a height of as little as 1 foot off the ground. Fact 27. A domestic cat can jump approximately 5 times its own body length horizontally. For an average cat, that is roughly 9 feet, about 2.7 meters, in a single leap. If a human being had the same relative ability, we could jump across a 2-lane road from a standing start. Fact 28. Domestic cats are more efficient hunters than lions. A house cat's hunting success rate is between 32 and 40% of attempts. A wild lion's rate is approximately 25%. Your cat, living on a sofa and eating from a bowl, has a sharper hunting edge than the apex predator of the African savanna. Fact 29. A domestic cat can reach speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour. Usain Bolt's peak recorded speed is 27.8 miles per hour. Your cat is faster than the fastest human who has ever lived. Fact 30. Cats navigate using the Earth's magnetic field. There are documented cases of cats finding their way home from distances of dozens of miles across completely unfamiliar terrain. The exact mechanism is still being studied. They simply know where home is. Fact 31. Cats can survive drinking seawater. Their kidneys are so efficient they can process the salt and extract usable fresh water from it. A human who drank seawater would dehydrate and die. A cat could theoretically sustain itself on it. Fact 32. Cats can produce over 100 distinct vocal sounds. Dogs manage about 10. Within those 100 sounds, each cat develops a private vocabulary with each specific person it lives with. You are being spoken to in a language designed exclusively for you. Fact 33. The vibration frequency of a cat's purr, between 25 and 50 Hz, stimulates bone repair and tissue healing. Orthopedic research has found that mechanical vibrations in this range accelerate fracture healing. Your cat is not just pleasant to be around, it is, in a measurable sense, physically therapeutic to be near. Fact 34. Cats possess what is called an instinctive kill bite. They know, without being taught, exactly where on the neck the skull meets the spine, and they bite there. The precision is neurologically hardwired. A cat does not need to learn how to kill efficiently. It already knows. Fact 35. Some cats can detect dangerous changes in blood sugar levels in diabetic people. They respond to the hormonal and chemical changes that precede a hypoglycemic episode, pawing at the person, vocalizing insistently, refusing to leave their side. A small number of cats have been formally trained as diabetic alert animals. Block 4. History. Fact 36. Cats were first domesticated approximately 10,000 years ago. The location was the Fertile Crescent, the region now occupied by parts of Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Israel. The trigger was agriculture. Humans stored grain. Grain attracted rodents. Cats followed the rodents. Humans discovered that cats were useful. That is how it started. Fact 37. Unlike every other domestic animal, cats were not domesticated by humans. Humans domesticated dogs, cattle, horses, and chickens by selecting them over generations. Cats chose to domesticate themselves. They moved near human settlements, found a niche hunting rodents, and tolerated proximity to people on their own terms. The partnership was their idea. Fact 38. Genetically, domestic cats are almost identical to the wild African steppe cat, Felis libica. Unlike dogs, which underwent dramatic genetic changes during domestication, cats changed very little. The behavioral flexibility, coming indoors, tolerating humans, using a litter box, is essentially the same wild animal choosing to cooperate, not a fundamentally different creature. Fact 39. In ancient Egypt, cats were sacred animals. The goddess Bastet was depicted with the head of a cat. She was the goddess of home, fertility, and protection. Cats were believed to carry divine power and were welcomed into temples, homes, and palaces. Owning a cat was a privilege. Harming one was a crime. Fact 40. Killing a cat in ancient Egypt was punishable by death. This applied even to accidents. When a Roman soldier accidentally killed a cat during the occupation of Egypt, his execution was reportedly ordered by the pharaoh, despite diplomatic pressure from Rome to release him. The cat's life was, legally, more protected than the soldier's. Fact 41. When a pet cat died in ancient Egypt, the entire household would shave their eyebrows as a sign of mourning. The shaving continued until they grew back. The period of public mourning for a cat was proportional to that for a human family member. Cats were buried with the same care as people. Fact 42. Egyptians mummified cats by the millions. Entire cat cemeteries have been discovered. One site near Beni Hasan contained an estimated 300,000 cat mummies. In the 19th century, many were shipped to England and sold as agricultural fertilizer. It is one of the stranger footnotes in the history of archaeology. Fact 43. In medieval Europe, cats were declared associates of the devil. Black cats especially were persecuted. In some regions, cats were burned alive on festival days. The church supported this view, and the cat went from sacred animal to hunted one in the span of a few centuries. Europe's relationship with cats was, for a long time, catastrophically misguided. Fact 44. Historians believe the mass killing of cats in medieval Europe significantly contributed to the spread of bubonic plague. With cats eliminated or drastically reduced, rat populations exploded. Rats carried the fleas that carried Yersinia pestis. The Black Death killed roughly 1/3 of Europe's population. The absence of cats did not cause the plague, but it almost certainly made it catastrophically worse. Fact 45. In Japan, cats have been symbols of good fortune for centuries. The Maneki Neko, the beckoning cat figurine, is found in the entrance of nearly every Japanese shop and restaurant. A raised right paw attracts money. A raised left paw attracts customers. Both paws raised means you want everything. Fact 46. The first cat to travel to space was a French cat named Félicette. She launched on October 18, 1963, reached an altitude of 100 miles and returned safely. France sent her into space twice. The second mission was not survivable. A statue was erected in her honor in Paris in 2019. Fact 47. Isaac Newton is traditionally credited with inventing the cat flap. The story goes that his cat kept scratching at his laboratory door, interrupting his work. Newton cut a hole in the bottom of the door and covered it with felt. Historians dispute whether Newton actually did this, but the cat flap exists, and someone had to think of it first. Fact 48. Ernest Hemingway kept dozens of cats at his home in Cuba and was famous for his devotion to them. Many were polydactyl, born with extra toes on their paws. Today, approximately 60 cats still live at the Hemingway Home and Museum in Key West, Florida. About half of them are polydactyl, descended from Hemingway's original cats. Fact 49. The phrase, "to let the cat out of the bag," comes from medieval market fraud. Sellers would put a cat in a bag and claim it was a piglet, a far more valuable animal. When a buyer opened the bag and revealed the cat, the deception was exposed. The phrase entered English as a metaphor for accidentally revealing a secret. Fact 50. The Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia, has employed cats as official rodent control since the reign of Peter the Great. Today, approximately 70 cats live and work in the museum's basement. Each has an official certificate of employment. They protect a collection worth billions, and they do it entirely on their own schedule. If you could choose any animal from history to be your pet, not just a cat, what would it be and why? Write in the comments. Fact 51. In Norse mythology, the goddess Freya travelled in a chariot pulled by two giant cats. These cats were gifts from the god Thor. Cats in Norse culture were associated with love, fertility, and the home. Farmers who treated cats well were said to be blessed with good harvests. This was one of the few pre-medieval European cultures to view cats as fundamentally positive. Fact 52. The Prophet Muhammad reportedly had a favorite cat named Mu'eza. According to Islamic tradition, when the call to prayer came and Mu'eza was sleeping on the sleeve of Muhammad's robe, he cut off the sleeve rather than disturb the cat. Islamic tradition holds cats in high regard. They are considered pure animals permitted inside mosques. Fact 53. Ancient Rome used cats to protect grain stores along the entire length of their supply network. As the Roman Empire expanded, cats travelled with the legions and traders into Britain, Gaul, North Africa, and across Europe. The Roman military was effectively the first global cat distribution system. Every cat in modern Europe traces some part of its lineage to a Roman grain store. Fact 54. The domestication of cats may have occurred not once but twice, independently. Genetic evidence suggests a separate domestication event in China approximately 5,000 years ago, involving a different cat species, the leopard cat. This Chinese lineage did not persist into modern domestic cats, but it suggests that cats and humans arrived at the same arrangement in multiple parts of the world, separately. Block 5. Cats and humans. Fact 55. Cats have a whisker width that is precisely calibrated to their body width. This is not coincidence. A cat uses its whiskers to test whether it can fit through an opening before committing. If the whiskers pass without touching the edges, the body will fit. The whisker span and the shoulder span are, in most cats, virtually identical. Fact 56. The reason cats bring you dead animals is not simply affection. Cats perceive their owners as large, helpless predators, creatures with an obvious lack of hunting skill. Bringing you prey is an act of instruction. Your cat, from its perspective, is trying to help you survive. Fact 57. Cats embed a distress frequency into their meows when they want something urgently. Studies have found that within the normal cat meow, there is a secondary frequency component similar to the cry of a human infant, a range between 300 and 600 Hz that humans find impossible to ignore. Cats did not learn this deliberately. Evolution selected for it because it worked. Fact 58. A cat rubbing its head against you is not purely affection. Cats have scent glands along the forehead, cheeks, chin, and base of the tail. When your cat presses these areas against you, it is depositing pheromones, leaving a chemical mark. To other animals in the space, you are now identifiably claimed. You belong to this cat. Fact 59. The slow blink is the cat's signal of complete trust. When a cat makes eye contact and blinks slowly, closing its eyes for a moment before reopening, it is displaying non-aggression and emotional comfort. Researchers call it a cat smile. If you slow blink back, the cat often repeats it. It is a two-way conversation. Fact 60. Cats purr in a far wider range of emotional states than happiness. They purr when content, yes, but also when stressed, injured, in labor, and in the final moments of life. Purring is a self-regulatory mechanism. It is the cat's way of managing its own nervous system, using vibration as a tool for biological stabilization. Fact 61. There are an estimated 100 to 600 million domestic cats in the world. The enormous range reflects how difficult they are to count. Outdoor, feral and semi-wild cats number in the hundreds of millions and rarely interact with any counting system. In terms of total population, the domestic cat is the most successful carnivore on Earth. Fact 62. Watching cat videos measurably reduces stress. A 2015 study by researcher Jessica Gall-Merrick at Indiana University surveyed 7,000 people about their cat video viewing habits. Participants reported significantly higher positive emotions and lower negative emotions after watching. The effect was the same whether they sought the video out or stumbled upon it. Fact 63. Cat owners have a statistically lower risk of heart attack. A 2008 study at the University of Minnesota that tracked over 4,000 people found that cat owners had a 40% lower risk of dying from a cardiovascular event than non-owners. The mechanism appears to involve reduced stress responses and lower blood pressure in people who regularly interact with cats. Fact 64. Cats have been formally incorporated into therapeutic programs for post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, autism, and depression. The presence of a cat, specifically the sensory combination of warmth, weight, and purring, produces measurable reductions in cortisol and increases in oxytocin. This is not folk wisdom. It has been confirmed in clinical settings. Fact 65. A cat's whiskers are not just spatial sensors. They can detect subtle changes in air pressure from several feet away. When a cat stands in a doorway and its whiskers twitch before the door opens, it is not reacting to a sound. It is feeling the change in airflow created by movement on the other side. What is the strangest thing your cat has ever done that you still cannot explain? Write in the comments. I want to know. Block 6. Records and notable cats. Fact 66. The oldest cat ever recorded was Cream Puff, a cat from Austin, Texas. She was born August 3rd, 1967, and died August 6th, 2005, at the age of 38 years and 3 days. The average domestic cat lives 12 to 15 years. Her owner fed her a diet that included bacon, eggs, heavy cream, and coffee. Veterinarians have no satisfying explanation. Fact 67. The longest domestic cat ever measured was a Maine Coon named Stewie from Reno, Nevada. He measured 48.5 inches, 123 centimeters from nose tip to tail tip. Maine Coons are already the largest domestic cat breed. Stewie was exceptional even by their standards. He died in 2013, and the record still stands. Fact 68. The loudest purring cat on record was a British cat named Merlin, owned by Tracy Westwood of Devon, England. His measured purr reached 67.8 decibels, roughly equivalent to the sound of a running shower or a busy road from inside a car. The average cat purrs at around 25 decibels. Fact 69. The wealthiest cat in history was a British black cat named Blackie. When his owner, millionaire Ben Rea, died in 1988, he refused to leave the estate to his family and instead bequeathed the entirety of his fortune, £7 million, to the cat. The family contested the will. They lost. Fact 70. A Texas cat named Dusty holds the record for the most offspring produced by a single domestic cat. Over the course of her life, she gave birth to 420 kittens. The record has stood since 1952. No other domestic cat has come close. Fact 71. The smallest adult cat ever recorded was a Himalayan Persian mix named Lilliput from Napa, California. As a full-grown adult, she stood 5.25 inches, 13.3 centimeters, tall at the shoulder. She weighed roughly 1.3 pounds. She lived a normal, full life. Fact 72. The highest documented fall survived by a domestic cat is 32 stories. The cat survived with minor injuries. Veterinarians studying high-rise fall survival found that beyond about 7 stories, cats actually have better survival odds because they have time to reach terminal velocity, relax their muscles, and spread their body into a parachute-like position. Fact 73. Grumpy Cat, whose real name was Tardar Sauce, became the highest-earning internet animal in history. Her permanently grumpy expression was caused by feline dwarfism and an underbite. During her lifetime, she reportedly earned more than $100 million in licensing, merchandise, and appearances for her owner. She died in 2019. Her expression never changed. Fact 74. The Scottish craft brewery Brewdog once listed a cat named Hamish on its company documents as the official director of purring. He attended board meetings. His responsibilities, per the company's own statement, included napping on documents and maintaining the office atmosphere. This was not a legal accident. It was policy. Fact 75. The ragdoll has surpassed the Persian as the world's most registered domestic cat breed. Known for going limp when picked up, hence the name, ragdolls are large, calm, and notably tolerant of being handled. They were developed in California in the 1960s by a breeder named Ann Baker, who made extraordinary and largely unverifiable claims about their origin. Block 7. Behavior and character. Fact 76. Cats spend between 30 and 50% of their waking hours grooming. Each tongue papilla is hollow, pulling moisture from the base of the tongue through the fur to the skin level. Grooming distributes oil, removes dead hair, regulates body temperature, and removes the cat's own scent. A clean-smelling cat is a cat that is harder for predators to detect. The grooming instinct is, at its root, a survival behavior. Fact 77. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day, some sleep 20. This is not a character flaw, it is an evolutionary optimization. Hunting requires enormous energy expenditure. The cat's body is designed for short, explosive bursts of maximum output, followed by long recovery periods. The sleeping cat is charging. The waking cat is ready. Fact 78. Cats dream. During REM sleep, their brain activity is nearly identical to a waking state. A sleeping cat will twitch its paws, move its whiskers, make small vocalizations, and produce rapid eye movement beneath closed eyelids. Whatever your cat is dreaming about, it is being experienced with the same neural intensity as its waking life. Fact 79. When a cat shows you its belly, it is the highest expression of trust it can offer. The belly is the most vulnerable anatomical region, all vital organs, no protective skeleton. Exposing it is a declaration of safety. However, this is not an invitation to touch. Most cats will accept a belly scratch for approximately 3 seconds before biting the hand attached to it. The trust was real. The invitation was not. Fact 80. Cats are documented to take deliberate revenge. Extended absence, prolonged ignoring the arrival of a new pet, any of these may result in the cat choosing to defecate outside the litter box, destroy a specific belonging, or spend days refusing to acknowledge your existence. Research confirms it is intentional, targeted behavior. Fact 81. Cats do not understand punishment delivered after the fact. If you return home to find something destroyed and scold your cat, the cat does not connect your anger to what it did earlier. It connects your anger to the current moment, your body language, your tone, your energy right now. The only way to shape a cat's behavior is to react immediately at the exact moment the behavior occurs. Fact 82. Cats can be trained to perform complex behaviors. The limiting factor is not intelligence, it is motivation. Dogs are motivated to please their owners. Cats are motivated to please themselves. Provided the reward structure is correct, almost always food, cats can learn to sit, stay, fetch, open doors, use a toilet, and execute multi-step behavioral sequences. Fact 83. Cats have a dominant paw, just as humans have a dominant hand. Across the cat population, females skew right-pawed and males skew left-pawed. You can test your cat by placing a treat in a narrow tube and watching which paw it uses first, consistently. It will use the same one every time. Fact 84. When a cat sleeps curled tightly into a ball, it is not just comfortable. Curling covers all vital organs and retains maximum body heat. It is the same defensive resting posture used by wild cats. Your domestic cat, perfectly safe in a heated apartment, is still sleeping like it might need to move suddenly at any moment. Fact 85. Cats walk with a gait shared by only 2 other animals on Earth, the camel and the giraffe. They move both limbs on the right side, then both on the left. Almost every other quadruped alternates front left with back right. This gait allows the cat to shift its center of gravity smoothly with each step, making it nearly silent in motion. Block 8. Strange and little known. Fact 86. Adult cats are naturally lactose intolerant. After weaning, kittens stop producing lactase, the enzyme needed to digest milk sugar. The milk you give your adult cat will almost certainly cause intestinal upset. The image of a cat Happily drinking from a bowl of milk is a cultural fiction that has persisted for centuries despite being biologically wrong. Fact 87. The tabby stripe pattern found in domestic cats is produced by the same genetic mechanism that creates tiger stripes, leopard spots, and cheetah markings. The protein responsible, called DICCOPF1, controls stripe spacing during the embryonic period. Your striped house cat's pattern is generated by exactly the same system as a tiger's. Fact 88. White cats with 2 blue eyes are very frequently deaf. The gene responsible for white fur and blue eyes is linked to degeneration of the cochlear cells in the inner ear. If a white cat has 1 blue eye and 1 non-blue eye, it is often deaf in the ear on the same side as the blue eye, only on that side, not both. Fact 89. Cats do not sweat through their skin. Their entire body has no sweat glands, except the paw pads. A stressed or overheated cat will leave small damp paw prints. On a hot day or at the vet, look at the examination table. The small wet marks are where the cat has been standing. Fact 90. Cats are instinctively repelled by citrus smells. This is not a quirk. It is an ancient protective response. Many plants in the citrus family produce compounds that are toxic to cats and to other small carnivores. The nose learned to avoid the smell long before the brain had a word for it. Fact 91. Recent research found that cats can see wavelengths of ultraviolet light that are invisible to humans. A cat's lens does not fully block UV light the way a human lens does. This means cats perceive a visual world that contains colours and patterns, particularly in urine scent marks, fluorescent plant patterns, and some bird plumage that we literally cannot see. Fact 92. The catnip response is a neurological reaction to a compound called nepetalactone, which binds to feline opioid receptors. Approximately 50 to 70% of cats carry the gene that makes them susceptible. For those that do, the response, rolling, vocalizing, rubbing, is genuine euphoria. It lasts about 10 minutes and has no known long-term effects. Fact 93. Cats cannot burp. The esophageal muscles are arranged to prevent reverse movement. Food and gas enter the stomach and stay there. This is the same anatomical design as in horses, and it carries the same risk. If gas builds up in the stomach without exit, the pressure can become dangerous. In cats, this contributes to the risk of hairball-related complications. Fact 94. The Fleeman response, that strange open-mouth grimace, is the cat routing a scent directly to the Jacobson's organ on the roof of its mouth. This organ bypasses the normal olfactory path and delivers chemical information directly to areas of the brain involved in social and reproductive behavior. The cat is not reacting to a smell. It is analyzing molecular information through a secondary receptor system. Fact 95. Cats are one of the primary engines of internet culture. By 2015, cat-related content represented a measurable percentage of all internet traffic. Numerous studies have examined why cats are unpredictable enough to be entertaining, aesthetically appealing enough to be shareable, and emotionally ambiguous enough to generate endless interpretation. The internet did not create the obsession. It revealed one that already existed. Fact 96. A cat's whiskers are exactly as sensitive as they appear to be. Each whisker is embedded in a follicle surrounded by a blood-filled sinus. Changes in air pressure, from movement, from breathing, from objects in the dark, send signals through this sinus directly to the nervous system. A cat's whiskers can register pressure changes 3 orders of magnitude smaller than what triggers a human touch receptor. Fact 97. Cats are descended directly from obligate desert creatures. Their wild ancestor, Felis libica, evolved in one of the driest environments on Earth. Domestic cats retain the physiology: highly concentrated urine, extremely efficient kidney function, low thirst drive, and the ability to get most of their hydration from prey. A cat that doesn't drink much water is not broken. It is running ancient desert software. Fact 98. Cats have individual personalities that are partially heritable. Research involving litters raised identically has found consistent personality differences, boldness, sociability, sensitivity that persist across life. Some of this comes from environment, but some comes from genetics. The cat's personality, in other words, was partly written before it was born. Fact 99. Cats experience what researchers call separation anxiety, though they express it differently from dogs. A cat left alone for extended periods shows elevated stress hormones, reduced appetite, increased vocalization, and altered sleep patterns. The cat that seems indifferent to your absence is not. It is simply expressing its distress in ways that don't look like distress to a human observer. Block 9. The last fact. Fact 100. If a cat has chosen to be with you, it was not an accident, and it was not the result of training, conditioning, or evolutionary obligation. Cats are the only domestic animal that remains fundamentally unchanged from the wild. What you have at home is, by any biological measure, still a wild animal, one that has assessed you on its own terms and decided that you are worth staying near. 10,000 years of living alongside humans, and the cat has not given up a single one of its wild qualities to do it. The choice to be with you is entirely and genuinely its own. Of all the creatures humans have chosen to live with, the cat is the only one that came on its own terms. Dogs evolved to need us. Horses were shaped to carry us, but the cat arrived uninvited, stayed by choice, and never changed what it was to do it. There are between 100 and 600 million of them living among us right now, in apartments, on farms, in museum basements, in the palaces of myth. Each one is, underneath the softness and the purring, a small wild animal that has decided today to stay. If you have a cat, you already know something that these facts can only describe. Subscribe to my channel. I post new videos about animals and nature every week, and write in the comments, how did your cat choose you? I read every answer.